Tonight, we got news from Mr. Tom Homan. They are surging the deportations. Again, this is just another psyop that is going away quickly. This psyop that deportations had stopped, that the administration was worried about how it looked and they were betraying MAGA. Rich Barris was touting this back in February and January. Robert Barnes, all these people just were saying, this is not what we voted for. He's betraying the base by backing off on this. Steve Bannon, I don't know if it came out of his mouth directly, but it's come out of a lot of his people, like Grace Chong and stuff. So it is a psyop been going on. And here's Homan telling us exactly where we're at now.
Story that really has come down in just the last couple of moments. A moment ago, you brought up sanctuary cities, okay? USA Today is reporting that ICE officers will be headed to over 40 states. What can you tell me about that story?
Well, I think what they're talking about is the deployment of our new assets, the new hires, and where they're being assigned. And I can tell you that my opinion, and what I'm talking to Mark Wayne Mullen about, is the vast majority of agents need to go to sanctuary cities. And why is that? Because we go to Florida, every sheriff, every chief's working with us. They honor detainers. We've got less of a problem in states like that, Florida and Texas. However, in states that want to lock us out of the jails, that refuse sheriffs and chiefs to work with us in any capacity, that's where we know it's a problem, because we know they're releasing public safety threats, illegal aliens to the streets every day. So we really got to concentrate on sanctuary cities, because that's where the biggest public safety threat is.
Okay, so that would include New York if they pass
Absolutely.
a law to make it a sanctuary city.
States.
Governor Kash.
That's huge. So they're surging them after all this talk. Sorry, I have to. After all this talk of them letting them down, they're surging in. I showed you guys the numbers the other day that have gone up. And then he doubles down on this as well, because, they were trying to pass that Amnesty Act. Well, Homan just obliterates this as well.
Cabinet members talking to the president about that. I believe I've characterized that exchange accurately. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what I'm curious about is what you mean. Are there people in the cabinet advocating for amnesty?
You characterize talking points are taken out of context. That interview, we opened the interview when we're talking about policies, talking about where do we go from here, right? Because President Trump did executive orders, had the most secure border ever in Trump 45. President Biden came in, undid it all through executive order. President Trump came back in through executive order. Now we have the most secure border ever in history of this nation. My first comment was, we need congressional action to solidify this and enshrine this into law, so the next president doesn't come in and undo it all again through executive order. When we're talking about the non-criminal people being there ever, I said discussions are ongoing all the time. For instance, just recently there's been discussion about the Dignified Act that some members of Congress are pushing. There's always conversations going on, but let me tell you this, and I mean this. President Trump's been clear from day one, amnesty's off the table. He don't support amnesty in any form, either do I.
Okay.
Love it. You see Homan's smile when he first asked him that? He's like, this is ridiculous. Look at that. You don't get that Homan smile very much, but there it is. He just can't believe they're even talking about this. It's not going to happen. This man is a boss. He's just so much better at doing this than Bovina was. He knows how to handle ICE. He knows how to get behind the scenes, do it in a way that's not all public, that attracts all the rioters, the protests. I mean, we're seeing raids happening in LA. We're seeing what just happened with that Disney cruise, which was a bunch of pedophile illegal immigrants working on a Disney cruise that they just busted, 29 of them or something. He's a master at this, and he's got ICE raring to go. And then also to hear that they're not just targeting violent criminals, they consider them all. If you crossed illegally, you can go back, which is exactly what we voted for, exactly what we want to hear, and exactly what the grifters have been telling us that the Trump administration gave up on. So this drives me crazy. And then Trump, they're hitting them on all ends. So you have this right here. Trump's targeting immigrants with $1.8 million fines for staying in the U.S. So between January 20th, 25, day of inauguration, March 18th, 26, ICE issued 65,000 civil fines to illegal aliens, totaling more than $36 billion. Our message clear: illegal aliens in the country illegally should leave now or face consequences. So they're hitting them all up with the fines to push them out. Trump's the first president to impose them, though they've been an option since 1996. How crazy is that? Trump's the only one who's ever used these fines that have been the law. You see how smart the Trump administration is? Coming into this second term, he had 4 years out, and he got the best people around him. And they went through the whole American legal code and found every single thing they can use. And it's genius. And this is why we're going to have great success in this area despite all the black pillars. Says this isn't Trump's first time imposing them. His first administration also did it, but Biden got rid of them. Of course. So crazy. Homeland Security today posted this, and it just made me laugh so hard. It says, under POTUS, Trump and Secretary Mullen, the nice men and women of ICE will not allow criminals to terrorize their citizens. That is so funny. Yesterday, ICE arrested multiple pedophiles, violent assailants, and robbers, including, and then they got this huge list of all of them. But the fact that the nice men, because they're putting the national in front of ICE, so funny. So absolutely love it. The humor they have at this is just is fantastic. So while deportations are ramping up, Trump did this today. He introduced a counterterrorism strategy and for domestic terrorism. Listen to this.
Cause to stir opposition to capitalism, imperialism or colonialism. We hear those chants all the time. They're ridiculous. Support for LGBTQ rights. Support for environmental causes or animal rights, adherence to pro-communist, pro-socialist beliefs or anti-fascist rhetoric, which we hear nonstop, and opposition to government authority. Now, the thing is, you can believe that, you can get together. They're worried about when it leads to violence, and then Treasury could play a big role, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As we saw with Operation Economic Fury, the counterpart to Epic Fury, you can now apply the entire toolkit that Treasury, I'm telling you, as a detective, we salivated over the ability that the federal government had with IRS and Treasury to go after money, to go after sanctions. This is something now that can now be done that will impact us at the state and local level. This is a huge change. And it's follow the money, right? Follow the money. You don't go after people for ideology. We got to be careful from a First Amendment standpoint. But when that ideology leads to violence, now they become a target. Now you apply the whole toolkit. And when you disrupt their money, I'm telling you, Brian, most of these groups are not flush with cash. You start disrupting that. You start disrupting their recruiting capability. You can have a huge impact in a very short amount of time.
Don't you believe that a lot of this money comes from our adversaries, Russia, North Korea?
This is brilliant. Okay. So opposing capitalism, pro-communist social beliefs, anti-fascist cosplay, BLM's chaos, LGBTQ extremism, environmental terrorists. They're going after all their funding, pulling the strings. This is Bessent. Bessent actually started this last summer. Okay, he announced he was going to look into all these terrorist groups, but they hadn't made it like official yet. So Trump made it official today. They probably needed some time to work out all the legal details to make sure they actually could pursue it in the ways they wanted to, and not go afoul of the law. And so working through all that, but now it's official. All these domestic terrorists, all these people who are trying to take down our country, who show up at these rallies and cause violence, property damage, actual terror cells. They're monitoring all of them, and now they're gonna go after all their funding and every other legal avenue they can. This is massive news. So absolutely thrilled to see this. And again, guys, we're just seeing the ramp up of all the justice and accountability in our country. It's starting to happen. And listen, John Solomon today had something on this from Tulsi Gabbard. Check this out.
National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has made available. They're unclassified. They show just how far the intelligence community went in 2020 to hide from the president, the Congress, and the American people certain foreign intrusions into our election. Now, we're not talking about things that may have changed the outcome of the election, but we are talking about sinister things like hacking into voter registration databases, running social media campaigns. The main actors in this one were chained up. For the most part, a little bit of concern about Venezuela. But what these documents showed this morning is that the CIA on multiple occasions tried to doctor President Trump's intelligence briefings to keep this information out. They did not want the information in the hands of the president or Congress. They wanted to keep it quiet. Now, we don't know why. Some of the documents do show some animosity in the intelligence community towards President Trump and his China policies. But we do know now that these things happen. In one instance, a CIA officer was asked to alter a document so that it wouldn't mention China. In another instance, a person was told he could not present information to the president. In a third instance, a CIA officer reported that Congress was falsely informed that there was no evidence of election concerns about Venezuela, when in fact there was an actionable piece of intelligence. Now, the sum total of this is that Tulsi Gabbard recently referred this to the Intelligence Committee Inspector General. It's being investigated. We'll see where the chips land on that. But over at Just the News, you can look at the documents.
This is crazy. Okay. This is absolutely crazy stuff that the president is supposed to get all the intelligence briefings. They were doctoring the documents of his intelligence briefings. That's insane. And that's basically seditious. It's definitely illegal. So Tulsi Gabbard is starting to get this stuff together, get it out there. I love that Tulsi's working behind the scenes, keeps bringing this stuff out there. It's amazing to me how they keep going after Tulsi, saying she'll leave. Then it's Kash, and they just keep rotating them, right? It's like all these people they're terrified of. They just keep trying to convince us all they're going to leave and run these psyops so that MAGA freaks out and it gets back to Trump, and then maybe he does something rash. But Trump holds on to him, and what happens? We just keep moving forward, and it just keeps building. They know exactly what they're doing in this administration. All the people who are freaking out, nothing's happening. No, they don't know what they're doing. He picked the wrong people. It's absolutely 100% wrong. And you're believing all the grifters when you're saying that stuff. It is crazy to me how anybody can still believe that after all the disclosure we've been getting, all the declassified documents that are just wild. And then on top of that, all the what we are starting to see as far as justice with arrests. I know. I get it. We haven't gotten the big names yet. But guess what? We're doing the people actually committing the crimes right now. And that matters more in the moment. It will be great when we work our way up. Do not get me wrong on that. I want it as much as anybody. But I can also see and understand the process going here. And that's what, again, it's like, again, it's always about where are you making progress? Not everything happens at once. It just doesn't happen that way. Even Susie Wiles, which there's plenty of people out there who think Susie Wiles is trying to undercut Donald Trump, that she's a deep stater. It's like, it's so crazy just because she's been Republican in the past and she worked for some big companies, that she's obviously, like, people do this guilt by association thing without any other evidence whatsoever. It always drives me nuts. Guilt by association only works if you also have supporting evidence that ties it together. But this is a well-connected world in politics. These people work for big companies. Some of those companies are bad. Some of those companies have done bad stuff. Some of them have ran into bad people. It's like Trump and Epstein. It's like you run into these people. They all run in the same circles. You can't avoid guilt by association. And so if you want to play that with everybody, then you're never going to find a single person who's doing anything good. But listen to Susie Wiles talking about 2020.
Leaving the White House, he called me and invited me to dinner, which I was not in the inner circle. I was just overwhelmed. I couldn't imagine why. I drove down to Mar-a-Lago.
Oops.
Which I think he thought I live, 10 minutes from there, but it's really 4 hours. And we had a lovely dinner, and at the end of it, he wanted to know why he won Florida, but maybe struggled in some other states that I think we're going to find out he actually did win. But leaving the White House, he called me and invited me to dinner, which I was not in the inner circle. I was just...
Sorry. It's replaying. I was having a glitch. Did you guys hear what she said, though? The 2020, the real results of 2020 are coming. So get ready. I mean, they're going to disclose all of this. And again, Susie Wiles, if she's a bad guy, if she's a rhino, if she's establishment, she's not talking about this. You know that there are a few absolute taboos that you do not talk about, that the rhinos never go there. Okay? You understand that? There's certain people, certain things the rhinos don't touch. They'll talk about taxes. They'll talk about abortion. They'll do the regular Republican spiels to keep their voters, but they don't touch 2020. The rhino Republicans don't touch it because they don't want that talked about. They don't want them to figure it out because they're all parts of the fraud. And they want the election fraud to keep going. This is why they won't pass the Save America Act. Okay, where they're dragging their feet. So that to me is one of the indicators when somebody's actually on the good side. It doesn't mean they were always there, but some people have awakenings, guys. Some people do change. Look at RFK Jr. He talks about all the time how he believed the crap everybody said about Trump. He believed that Trump was this awful man, and now he knows him and he loves him. He thinks he's a great guy, but he was in his bubble. Sometimes people get awakened. Look at Marco Rubio as a perfect example. Marco Rubio was for amnesty. People are always like, J.D. Vance hated Trump. Yeah, well, let's talk about Rubio. Rubio literally put together a bill that would have granted amnesty. He was a full-on neocon. Okay? But now everybody's like, we trust Rubio over Vance. Rubio is actually doing work that is completely against everything MAGA stands for. I'm not saying I don't like Rubio. I love Rubio. I think Rubio turned. I think he saw the light. Okay? And I think what Rubio did is worse than 34-year-old J.D. Vance, who hadn't even become a senator yet, saying like, yeah, I think Trump could be Hitler. Yeah, because he probably heard that from people who he trusted. And he said a stupid thing, and he could change just like Rubio changed. So don't come at me with this like, oh, Rubio all of a sudden is the great MAGA successor because he's perfect and everybody else has bad stuff in their past. Come on. They all have stuff. It's so stupid. Like, they all have something in their past. There's not one person you could point to. Oh, Ron Paul. Oh, yeah, Ron Paul. He used bots in 2007 to help boost his network. There's stories about it all over the place. Okay, and also Ron Paul never could build a coalition to win anything. So tell me again how awesome Ron Paul was. I'm just like, come on, people. At some point, you have to make a decision. If you trust Trump, you have to trust who he makes his decisions on. And Susie Wiles is letting us know that the 2020 election is about to be out. Okay, and we're going to get some of that, which that started last year when the raids on Fulton County and stuff. And then we got Todd Blanche, who I got to say is just killing it. Oh, by the way, another guy who is Todd Blanche, you can't trust him. He used to be a Democrat. Yeah, so is Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. So is Trump. Stop playing these stupid games. It's like, tell me what you've done lately. Show me what you've done lately. It's like people can change. People can see the light. People can actually start doing good things if they were bad in the past. Scott Bessent, who's obviously so far the greatest Treasury Secretary in history, an absolute genius. He's crushing it for us in so many ways. The guy worked for freaking George Soros in the early 90s. Is anybody going to come tell me that Scott Bessent is a globalist? I don't think so. Okay. So anyways, but here's Todd Blanche talking about what's coming.
In a recent interview, former President Barack Obama said, and I quote, "The White House shouldn't be able to direct the Attorney General to go around prosecuting whoever the president wants to prosecute." You're the Attorney General. What is your response?
Well, coincidentally, I happen to have, I think, a copy of our Constitution. So if we want, we can read our Constitution together. Article 2
that guy did not look happy
says
about
the
that.
executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. It does not say that the Attorney General stands off to the side.
Boom. Oh my God. That is so good. That is so good. I'm going to let him say that one more time before we move on. This is, oh man, this is good. First of all, look at this guy's face when he sees the Constitution get pulled out. He is not happy about that. So good. So good. I mean, this is great. Todd Blanche is awesome.
So if we want, we can read our Constitution together. Article 2 says the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. It does not say that the Attorney General stands off to the side. So I'm an acting Attorney General. The Attorney General is a member of the cabinet of the President of the United States. The Constitution gives the President power. So I question people in this country that suggest that President Trump, as the chief executive of the United States, does not have the authority or the right or shouldn't be leading this country in all areas, including what we need to be doing to get rid of crime in this country. And so I'm not familiar with the comments you just talked about, but to the extent that President Trump calls me and says that he thinks that we have a problem in this country, whether it's this scourge of drugs, illegal immigration, every American wants him to do that, and he should.
But the accusation here from the former president is that your department is now charging political adversaries of the president or perceived political adversaries of the president on his behalf to settle scores, essentially.
There's something extraordinarily rich about a Democrat suggesting that this administration is charging our political adversaries. I mean, first of all, we're not. Second of all, how about we think about what happened the past 4 years? It wasn't just President Trump that got indicted repeatedly in multiple district courts, in multiple jurisdictions, but it was also his entire administration, what was called into the grand jury. Members of his Secret Service detail had to testify in the grand jury. So I welcome criticism. Let's go. But let's, if you're sitting in a glass house, you ought not throw stones.
What a total badass. I'm sorry. That dude is awesome. Todd Blanche for life. I'm just going to get the t-shirt now. Todd Blanche for life. That was unbelievable. Sorry, Blanche haters. That was based. And I got to say, he basically just said that, oh, you know what? First of all, I'm happy to be Trump's guy. Like Trump is constitutionally allowed to make me his lapdog, for me to make me his attack dog. Say, send me out, I'll go get him. That's the Constitution, bro. Let's read it right here. That was unbelievable. And then to be like, hey, you're in the glass house, Obama, you better not throw stones. In other words, we could come for you, buddy. You better be careful. You better be careful what you're saying. Unbelievable. I'm sorry. Like, this was on CBS too. This wasn't like some side podcast. This is for millions of viewers to watch. He just put the whole Democratic Party, he just put Obama on blast. And he also just destroyed that stupid narrative out there about the Justice Department needs to be independent. Trump is the Justice Department according to the Constitution. So eat it. And for Blanche to not even try to play the game, for him to just own it and say, like, I don't care. Like, you guys can say whatever you want. I'm going to listen to what Trump says to do. I'm part of his cabinet. He's the one voted in. That's what the Constitution says. That is sick. And I love it so much. So, guys, this is who we have. Kash Patel, same intensity. I mean, Blanche, obviously, there was a plan. It's so clear now to see the plan. Bondi could get in. She could get she could get confirmed through the nomination process. Blanche, he was Trump's lawyer. He wasn't going to get confirmed. There was going to be too many questions about him. So he was going to have to prove himself. So you bring Bondi in, you clean up the DOJ. Bondi did incredible work before the Supreme Court. She got the DOJ set up. She got all these investigations set up. And then she gets to sit down, and Blanche comes in, and now he's like, I'm the attack dog and I'll own it. And everything's ready. and I'm going for it. And Trump now has this guy in there. He didn't have to be confirmed. He gets a pretty long period of time before they force it. And now he gets to prove himself. And at this point, he'll prove himself and he'll get in, and he might even get confirmed. Or he'll do the job. He'll wreck shop, and they'll be so mad at him, they'll never confirm him. But he'll be like, I did my job. I gave you a good 6 months of just killer stuff. And they bring the next one in. But it's very clear they had a succession plan. It's very clear this was all planned by this. I mean, this guy obviously was meant to be Attorney General. That he obviously was meant to be. So I'm not sure how long he has. I don't know the exact laws on all that. I think he has like 6 months and maybe an extension for 90 days, or it might be 90 days and one 90-day extension, which makes it 6 months total before he has to be confirmed. One way or the other, though, he's got several months. And by what we're already seeing the Justice Department do, we're going to see a lot more coming from this guy. He's awesome. So, guys, it's pretty clear to me justice is back in this country, and it's working hard to get us caught up to where we need to be. And that should excite everybody. And this guy should excite everybody after what we just saw.